Oh yeah. Did I take a picture? No, there we are. Hey folks, how you doing?
I just kind of stand back.
Your favorite mechanics are back at it. The what do we call our garage now?
This is the World Champion Garage.
The World Champion Garage. So we did a little bit more investigating. We have everything concluded today. We got some good news, and the engine is a full go for our repair. We don't have to take the cylinder heads off, and we're going to show you this now. Right, Clay?
That's right. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Oh, we rolling.
All right. Okay, so now we got the compressor fixed. Clay got his compressor fixed, and we're all in business. And it is working marvelously. So what I did is I connected our hose here into the spark plug hole. And can you see this on the camera? Right now this thing is around 0. This is not the most precise thing. And we got now, we're right here at the calibration mark. So we're a little bit over, but that is really no big deal. Now, can you see this here when I put this in?
Yep.
Is that on the camera?
It's in there.
All right. If I can get it in. See how the chain just moved? What is our reading now? I can see it from here.
Calibration, 20.
20. That's how close off we are. This was set when we started about an hour ago. We were about 90% loss on this. We can zoom in here for a second, I think. Go a little bit up. Get the right in the middle, yeah. And now you can see this. We have basically closed it off. This would be a normal indication for a cold engine with 100,000 miles. That is an acceptable loss. And when we started, these valves were so stuck with so much carbon on it that the reading was 90%. This was one of the worst cylinders we had, right?
That was it.
Yeah. And let me just show you this. How we did this was, let me just disconnect this. Shoof. We used this machine here, the spring tension removal tool, and we just went, I can't do it from here, but you go up, down, up, down, up, down. And what Clay had done was he had sprayed in the intake valves are more affected by this than the exhaust valves because they're so much closer to the air filter where air can enter this whole system. And we went up probably, 10, 20 times on those? Mm-hmm. And it did it from 90. And we had sprayed in, what did you spray in?
Murphy's Miracle Oil.
Miracle Oil, and you put WD-40.
WD-40.
And we sprayed it in here, and we soaked the valve seat with the stuff. And then we basically broke this free, and that's how we got from a 90% compression loss to about 23% compression loss on a cold engine. And Clay is going to do this now for every one of these cylinders. We basically are focusing on the intake side. Luckily, the exhaust side has virtually no impact on this. They will come free here as soon as we crank the engine over. Here on the cylinder number 1, see this, it went down further because the pressure just turned that back over. We took the spring actually out to see what we got here and what our seals look like, if we have to replace the seals or if we have to do anything else on there. But this is coming free here. So they're stuck and they have carbon on there and a light coat of rust. And the reason why you have rust on the intake, or it's just surface rust mixed with carbon, that is because the air filter sits right here. Underneath the air filter is the airflow metering unit with the big plate, which is not sealed. From there it goes straight through the boot to the throttle valve body, and from there to the lower intake, into the upper intake, right into your intake system on each head, and that is right there where the valves are. So when you park a car like this and you don't close off the air hole or the big hole on the airflow metering unit, you're going to have any type of condensation, hot air, cold air, dust, everything coming in there. And they all sit on those valves, and depending on where your engine is parked, they're going to be more open or less open, and that is going to sit on the rings on the outside because everything is open. It distributes itself right on the valve on the inside, and then when you take the rocker arms out, you have every cylinder leaking. And the only way you can restore this is just what we demonstrated you here with the WD-40 Mystery Marvel Oil. Mystery Marvel Oil, for the better part, is nothing but 20 weight oil, which has an additive in there, so it flows very easily. And we put this also into the piston, and now the engine is completely free and rotates easily. Correct, Clay?
That's right.
Yeah. So now we got everything prepped. We got our new premium Ivis chain came in, and we're still waiting, and the cover for our rail guide came in, but we're still waiting for the smaller guide rail for the right side. When this comes in, then we're going to pull in the new chain. By that time, we hopefully have cleared up all the valves, and we got then all our hydraulic lifters to work. And then we can basically start to put the bridge assembly back together. The gaskets for those came in. We got to clean off the surfaces, and then we're basically good to go. Now, on the electrical side of things, we had to really dig through it with our switch. We finally found the connector for the throttle switch, and this thing is hidden all the way down here in this corner, which is so hard to see. Can you get it? Is it in the picture? And then basically from here it goes over and in down to the throttle body, and I'm going to show you this now what that looks like. We got this all lined up here. This is basically how we applied this, is with the Marvel Mystery Oil, is with a syringe here, and I told him roughly on how many milliliters to put in there. And we had a little hose with a nozzle connected to it, so he was able to get this exactly into place. The switch, this is actually what the cable looks like for the switch. And this is a manufacturing date of November 1979. And now I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. This is a 126 part number. And were you able to show it in the video?
It came up.
All right. And the switch is this one here. And this, I think we showed this, that is a 005 part number. And this wire was attached to here like this at one point, and you can see this, that there was some heat involved to basically melt the cable off, and it broke off just like this. And this was already the predecessor of what came then the following year with the model change to the first generation 126s. So this car, this 1980 model year of the 450 SEL, has already parts in there which became later on parts, permanent parts in the first generation of the 126 500 SEL, and most likely the 380 SEL as well. The problem we're having now with the switch is that this switch comes back in the Mercedes-Benz database as an invalid part. And the other thing is, what we also found is that the throttle body, which is the 3 vacuum port style, has no part number except for these embossed numbers here, which have no meaning. But this entire thing has no part number whatsoever. It is original, it belongs to the car. Clay and I, we checked the engine number today with what came from Mercedes-Benz with the VIN number and what we actually have on the engine block, and they both match. So Clay has the original engine in the vehicle. And this, what you see here, this entire system was only used from September 1979 until August of 1980. And then most of these parts moved over into the 500 SEL, the first generation W126. So this is really no longer the old style 450 SEL with the K-Jectronic in there, but it is already more or less a 500 SEL. See, now we got an on-off switch. Now we don't have to pull the cable. And so this is basically, this was their experiment model. The engine has still, what, about 4.2 liter or 4.5 liter displacement. And so the 5-liter engine was just a tad bit larger. And I have contacted 4 different salvage operations in the United States trying to find us this switch because we cannot get it. This is basically exactly the same switch what you have on the 560 today and on the 420, except that on this side here, they don't have the second hole. So we can get this switch and basically just cut this part, that hole off, and then we have the same switch. And then we change the 3-pin round plug to the 3-pin rectangular on the wiring harness. And that would fix our issue with the switch. And the other thing we found also is what we got out is the oxygen sensor. So this is a Bosch sensor, not a Mercedes-Benz sensor. The manufacturing date was week 8 of 1992. So in 1992, someone changed this sensor, and they were changed, I believe, at a 35,000 mile interval. So that would have been probably 50,000 mile service or so, 60,000 mile service when this was last replaced. So we're going to get a new one too. And you can see the connector housing, the plastic itself, just came completely loose as soon as I unclipped it. This sits underneath the car. Can you get it? And you can basically, it is just clipped above the heat shield on the past the 2 catalytic converters. This car has 2 primary catalytic converters, which are really small. Then they come together, and this is mounted in the pipe right where the 2 sides actually meet after the 2 catalytic converters. So with this, we're making by quite some progress, and I think in a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, depending on how the parts come in, we will be able to get this car to run. And then we're going to have a smiling Clay. Yeah. So from this, what we're seeing now with the compression we're getting with our compression restoration, the leakage elimination, we're going to be in an excellent shape here. This is coming together. So an hour ago, you should have seen Clay on how sad he looked when we're looking at 90%, 80% loss, leakage, or leakage, 80, 90% leakage. And then when we started to move the valves and started to rotate the valves and everything, they started to seal right back up. So we will be good. And then the other thing is we drained the oil pan. Maybe we can show this underneath here too real quick. And we took the gasket off, and with all the leakage, can you come down here? Or do you want me to get the camera? Let's get the camera. It's going to continue. So I'm underneath here now, and I'm sorry, I just stopped the camera. So I just wanted to show you this here, what we got here. We're looking actually pretty good. Let me see, yeah. We can zoom in here. We have no particular issues. We found our 2 little pieces actually from the tensioner guide, which broke. You can see here the chain tensioner for the oil chain is still good. So we have no issues here on this here. There's not much slack in here. This is something what you would expect. But the oil is completely contaminated with the fuel, which she had leaking through all of these, from the non-combustion and everything else. And this is why the engine is so bone dry. We basically, the oil got completely destroyed. So we have to do a intense engine flush with oil to get the remaining fuel out of here. So now I'm coming back out. Let me just see. Oops. See how tall he is? He towers up here. So that's basically what we got cooking here, right? And you want to say anything?
I just want to say you probably won't be able to see me because the sun is in
No,
my back,
you're
but that's
blocking
okay.
you're blocking the sun out. Just stay right there, right there.
We're
Yeah.
through rigging things up for today.
You look like you got a halo now, Clay. Well, anyways, guys, stay tuned. It's a work in progress, and we're getting there slowly. But with this results, what we had today with restoring our compression, this engine is a full go, and we don't have to pull the cylinder heads off because that is not enough leakage now remaining after just moving them a few times to get them to seal to our 23%. And this is a Bosch tool, if you ever wondered. This is a Bosch, what is that number here? Did I have this backwards now? Yeah. That's a 106, 100, 189.0. And this was the go-to tool for this. Like I said, is normally you use this tool only on a warm or hot to warm engine when you want to check this, because then you got the full seal anyway, because this is very accurate, this instrument. But like I said, is that we're now down to 23% leakage with carbon and slight fly rust, or what do you call that, fly rust on there when it's not rusted but rust is sitting on it?
Rust.
No, you have either full corrosion where it goes into the metal, or it's just surface rust. Basically what we have is surface rust. I made a video going into here. I think, no, we went into this cylinder in the first one to look at the top of the valve when we're moving this. We removed the spring. I know you guys are going to shit in your pants now. And but we set the engine to a position where it cannot fall in. And we got that removed, so we were able to better inspect this. And of course, when we put just pressure on it, you could see the air bubbles from all the Marvel Mystery Oil and the WD-40 bubbling happily out there. And first it steamed out of there, actually, when we first did it. There was white steam coming out there just applying this thing when we had the 80 to 90% loss readings. And so, yeah, I'm gonna see if I'm gonna edit this in here somewhere on how this is gonna look like it. And with that, Clay is going to have the last word, and he's going to buy dinner tonight, right?
We're going to eat some food. 'Cause
Yeah.
I am starving.
Yeah, me too. And starving mechanics don't work well, right?
No.
So we're going to say goodbye. I'm going to say goodbye, and Clay is going to say goodbye.
And we'll see you next time.
Yeah, we will make another video. Have a good evening.